Hey there, how are you doing? I am glad you're here. Are you bored? Has the pandemic and staying at home and doing everything online, is that working for you? Boy, it's been hard. I have a granddaughter who is in the 4th grade, and she's really kind of struggling with it still. I mean, she's doing her homework and everything, but it's taking a toll. I mean, she's ready to go back to school, and just like everybody else. So, want everybody to hang in there. Try to keep positive and enjoy this new fall weather. I don't know about you, but I love getting the sweaters and the sweatshirts out and everything. So, but I'm glad you're here. My name is Mr. Paul. I'm an artist and an art teacher, and I've been teaching in the public schools and in libraries and DHS facilities, and I've just been working with young people like yourself for a really, really long time. In fact, you may have been in some of my classes before. So I'm glad you're here, and our project today is a fun one if you just allow yourself to get into it. In fact, in the schools, when I do these projects in schools, it is the #1 project that kids love. And I hope that you will get into it and really allow yourself to get into this and really have a good time. I really want you to have a good time. Today what we're going to do is we're going to make a 3-dimensional sculpture, right? Does anybody know what the 3 dimensions are, the 3D is, right? I know we've all heard of 3D movies and stuff, right? They're not really 3D, but it looks like it's 3D, meaning that you can see on the side, you can see the front, and then you can see the sides a little bit. But a real 3D object is something that you can see all the way around the object, right? And that's what sculpture is. It's 3 dimensions. Anybody know what the 3 dimensions are? The 3 dimensions is height, width, and depth. And if I stood up, you could see my big gut. That's my depth, right? So it's height, width, and depth. And so when we're finished with these things, these sculptures, however you want to make them, they're going to stand up off of the table, right? They're not going to lay flat. They're going to stand up. And I tell you what, I have done this, like I said before, in my classes, and it has been a joy. Because once you get the basics down, right? Once you understand, when you know how to make your materials to build, once you kind of get a hold of that, the sky's the limit. And I mean the sky's the limit. I've had kids build sculptures all the way up to the ceiling. It's really kind of fun and interesting. And so once you get the basics down and you know the basics of how to do this, it's going to be up to your imagination what and how you want to build a sculpture. So I don't really want you to build what I'm going to build. You can if you want, but once you get going, your imagination is just going to go, and you're going to be able to get in there and create your own stuff, right? The basic foundation materials are really kind of straws or tubes, right? They're made out of just regular, like, copy paper, and I'm going to show you how to make these basic shapes. This is kind of the very beginning of this project. You got to learn how to make these. You'll understand when we get into this that at first it may be a little difficult for you. but you're going to be just fine, okay? So let's get going. We'll do this. Okay, now we've got, before you start building, what I would like for you to do is go ahead and make a bunch of these. You're probably going to make, depending on how big the sculpture that you're making, right? You're going to be rolling maybe 20, 30, 40. Hey, you could build a giant cave in your bedroom by using these simple materials. These straws. So when you get a little pile, right, because I know everybody's itching to start moving up and building these things, one of the things I want you to do is I want you to have several here, and again, you're going to be making these as you go along. I want you to take 3 of them, and don't worry about the lengths being different. It's no big deal, right? So what I do is I take the skinniest ends, see this end is a little bit thicker than this. I take 3 of them like that and put them together, and what I do is I squash them. Just the ends, right? I squash them, and this time what I do is I take a long piece of tape, and I want you to, what we're going to do is we're going to tape these 3 together, okay? And again, now, and one of the things that I want you to keep in mind when you're doing is that every time you twist this around, I want you to use your thumb and I want you to press these things together. It's not going to help if you just kind of lightly, wrap it around. That's not going to hold it in place. Use your finger, use your thumbs, press it, and as you turn these around, right? There we go. See, squeeze it like that. And so what you've done is you've kind of created this teepee, or what's called a tripod. Tripod, tri in Latin means 3. Tripod. Now, what you're going to have to do is we're going to have to tape these 3 to the table so it'll be secure, right? So what I do is I cut out, some longer, we started out with the small ones, right? But now what we need is some long ones like this. So as I said before you start building, you really have to get your materials in line. Okay, so what I do is what you need to do is you need to spread these out so they're kind of evenly spaced, right? And how I do it is I take one, I fold the end of this, and I tape it to the table. And the reason we're taping it to the table is that it'll be secure, so if you want to build something tall, it's not going to be falling over and everything, right? Another one, I'm going to tape it to the table, and really tape it to the table. Once again, don't just lay the piece of like, oh, that's going to work. No, that's not going to work. I want you to flip that over and then put it up against the straw and really, really take that extra time and really get it secure. And sometimes what you do is what I'll do here is I'll crisscross it. Make an X. See how I'm doing that X? That's pretty good. And you can tell. Now don't shake it too hard, or keep in mind this is just tape and paper, right? So I think I'll put another one on the other side. And don't just lay the second piece of tape over the first tape. Because if the first tape gets loose, it'll all come off, right? So make sure you kind of crisscross them like that. Each piece of tape goes on to the table itself, okay? I think that's pretty sturdy, right? Now, what do? This is when it gets fun. You've got your foundation, right? You have a foundation. Again, keep in mind, it's only paper tubes, but I'm wiggling in it, and it doesn't look bad, right? So, what do next? Well, what I do is I build up. And every time I put a piece of tape on, okay. Let's go off the camera here. We're getting really tall, but this will kind of give you an idea of what you can do. Now, once you get it going like this, you not only go up, but you can go sideways, right? And I tell you what, don't skimp on the tape, meaning use enough tape to really secure these tubes together. Don't overdo it. You don't have to just wrap it, but you can feel it. You can feel a little bit. If it feels secure, you're doing right. You're doing the right thing. Okay, now what I'm going to do is we've gone up, we've got the height, we got the width, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do the depth. We're going in all directions, up, down, this way and that way. I've had classes before where people made flowers and rocket ships, and you don't have to make anything. All this can be, if you want, is some great shapes, right? A contemporary or an abstract painting or a sculpture is something that you just you make it up as you go along. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be a dog or a cat or or what have you. If you want to try to make something like that, go for it. But if you're just wanting, especially for the first time, if you've never really done this before, right? Just the idea of kind of getting in there and start building. Because I find that even if you don't know what you're doing, you keep rolling them, taping them, ideas will come to you, right? And that's always a good thing, right? That's what artists do. You start and you look at it and go, oh man, I'm going to put one from here to here. I think that'll be really cool, right? You just do it. In fact, I think sometimes that's really a lot of fun. Is you've got the idea, right? And you kind of know how to make these. The next step is go for it. You know, and I mean, like, you don't have to have something, oh, I'm going to make this. You just add, build, go this way, go that way. Like what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, anytime that you can stick two together like that, right? Go for it. You can take that together. I've had some of my students, like we'll do something like this in class, and then they'll go home, just like you are now, and make big ones, like, you know, like fill up half the bedroom. It's something that you can do by yourself. I find it's really creative, right? It's fun to do, it's creative, and I think anybody can kind of do this. So let's see, we're going to take this up here. I don't know, what do you think this is looking like? This kind of looks like a sail of a sailboat. I don't know. It's like any kind of art form. You know, you look, a good piece of artwork is when you go, let's say like a museum or an art gallery, and you look at, you're drawn to something and you really kind of like it, and you're trying to figure out, well, what does it mean? Or what is it trying to say? I think that's part of the fun of art, and being able to go somewhere and see something maybe you've never seen before, something out of somebody's imagination, right? And you kind of come up with your own ideas of what that is, you know? I don't know, I kind of like that. As an artist and as somebody that loves to see art. Okay, I've got another one. I think I'm going to put this one here. But I think you get the idea. Now, let me tell you one thing that you're going to come across. We're not really going to get to that point on this video, but if you continue after this video, which I hope you do, because this can be really fun just by yourself in your room, right? Building these transformer-looking things, or, you know, it's a variety of things that you can do with this. Is you're only limited by your own imagination. So I hate people that use the term think outside the box. But what you really need to do is think outside the box. Just don't think about, oh, I'm going to make a square, you know, or I'm going to make a triangle. I made a triangle, but I wanted something else, something different. And so that's what you need to strive to do. And one of the most important things, and keep this in mind, one of the most important things I want you to do is to have fun with this, right? This is, again, and I'm not just saying this, I have, we've done, in my classes at school, when I was doing them in school, we would have contests on who could build the tallest tower that would survive an earthquake, right? And I would be the earthquake. I'd go in and shake the tables and everything. And the last one standing won a prize. That was always fun. Kids always love that. So I hope that you can take this basic concept, this basic idea, and play with it. Make it different, you know. You don't have to do it like me, right? The ideas can be endless, meaning your imagination, if you want to, hey, try something, and if you like it, keep it. If not, unroll the tape. One of the things, and one of the last things I'm going to talk to you about, and this is really, really important. The larger these get, and the more you put on it, meaning the more weight that you put on, and you know, it's really kind of weird that the higher you go, gravity is going to want to squash it. Gravity is going to, so if you have any weak links, if you have any weak areas, the more weight you put up here, if it's not secure down here, guess what? It'll go down. So sometimes when you get to a point where, you know, you're looking good and you're really excited, but it becomes unstable, it becomes unsteady, and it looks like it's going to fall. There's one thing that I want you to kind of keep in mind, that when that occurs, there's something that you can actually do about it. And that is, it's called, in the construction business, it's called SCabbing. Meaning, if you've got one piece of wood and another piece of wood and it breaks, what you can do is you get another piece of wood and you lay it over the top of the two pieces of wood, and you nail it and you nail it and you put it together. You secure it with this piece of wood. That's called, in construction, that's called SCabbing. Oh, something broke. Instead of using a whole brand new piece of wood, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the smaller piece of wood and connect them and make it stronger. Again, you can do this. Now, I can already tell if I keep going up and out, there is a weak point in this structure already. Can anybody guess where that is? The weakest point. The weakest point is right here. Watch this. See? So how you can do that, how you can make it stronger, is you put a tube and secure it. If this is the weak point right here, you put a tube above the weak point, and again, let's tape this tape really well, right? And then you tape it below the weak point. And what that does, it makes this joint, this area here, stronger. And of course, that's what you want. If you're wanting to go all the way to your ceiling, you may have to do these scabs, these braces, many times. Or you might have to put more braces like this. It can all be part of the design. So, I think that I've given you some ideas. This can be fun. You don't have to use copy paper. You can use construction paper, like to make them colorful. The only problem with construction paper is that it's thicker and it's harder to roll, right? So don't give up on your second try, third try, fourth try of making these tubes thin, making these tubes look more like straws, right? The more you do, the better you're going to get. It's just like anything else. It's like making dribbling a basketball or whatever. It takes time for you to kind of get it. But once you get it, once you understand how to do it, how to hold your fingers, you're just going to be just fine. So, enough for me right now. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that you can not just finish this, but maybe you could probably get your folks or something to go get you some like copy paper that's in color, right? And make a real bright, brilliant piece of sculpture. Pretend, when you're finished, you look over, pretend that instead of this being made out of paper, it's made out of steel, and it's 25 foot tall, and it's standing in a beautiful green lawn in front of a museum. It's interesting because there are artists out there, major international artists, that create stuff kind of like this, not exactly like this, but kind of like this. And it's art, and people love it. So from me, Mr. Paul, I'm glad you came out. If you need to, rewind this thing and do it again to give you some more tips. But anyway, be creative, use your imagination, and have a great day. See ya.